Now, originally I was going to do this a couple of days after the update came out, but I decided to, hang back a little bit purely because with it being an early access, Tripwire would eventually fix some of the issues that I had originally, and thankfully some of those have. However, the rest, there's still a couple of issues, and a lot of people don't really like the new game mode. Normally I would deconstruct what came out in this update, however the whole point of this is to focus on the versus mode itself. I don't feel like I can actually judge the new weapons just yet. They're good, but I can't really get a full feel for them until the sharpshooter perk deck actually comes out, and I just said perk deck again, didn't I? I do this so much. Now, for anybody who hasn't actually played Killing Floor 2 yet, or generally has not looked at the new updates because they've just given up with the early access, the new game mode is Versus. It's pretty much just survival, however you can play as the Zeds and actually try to stop the other team from winning. On paper this sounds like a really good idea, because you can now mow down the survivors of the apocalypse as a husk, a flesh pound, a Scrake, or even the Patriarch himself. I would show you footage of that, however I've never actually played as him because for some odd reason the game keeps shooting the other fucking characters on my team. Right, anyway, remember how I said it sounded good on paper? Well, on the first day of launch I actually streamed it, and from the look of it, it was very unbalanced. If you played as Berserker level 25, you pretty much just dominated the game, or any level 25, except the ones which are about accuracy, and I've noticed this a lot, purely because Killing Floor 2 was built as a PvE game originally. It was never really expected to have versus. Due to latency, ping, all that kind of stuff, playing versus is really tricky, and you're used to an AI power. You don't expect to see a Zed jumping around, doing the can and really prepare for it. However, with Versus, because you're playing against actual players and you can only just tell who they are when you're looking at them closely because of the white lights on them, the game doesn't compensate you for it. So if you're playing Berserker or Firebug, or even a Medic in that matter of fact, it's not too bad. You can just spray and pray. With the Berserker, you just get a pulverize and just right click all the time. I know this because I do this myself. But with people like Gunslinger, Commando, Support, Demolitionists at some point, the game doesn't compensate for the lag, and it's a real problem for people who like those classes because they're not going to be able to play them, and if they do, they're going to suffer. And I actually think Sharpshooter is going to have the same issue when it comes out. And speaking about when that new perk comes out, what do I say every time a new perk comes out on every video about that perk? Everybody plays the goddamn class because it's the new perk. The problem here being on Versus because there's no level limit to when you can join a Versus game, and the game tries to balance out depending on the levels. It's going to be unfair. So imagine, normally when you're playing with people who are level 5 and level 25, the game balances itself out, so it's not too hard for level 5 but quite tricky for level 25, so they're not just winning the game anymore. Originally they used to be built for just beating up low levels and then being beaten by high levels, and it didn't really work because again the Berserker or the Medic or the Firebug will just fucking dominate the game. Now when Sharpshooter comes out, and if you join a versus game on level 0 thinking no one else is going to play it, they can help me, they can cover me while I learn the basics of the perk, you're gonna be an idiot. You're not gonna win, you're just gonna get destroyed because everybody has no idea what they're doing with the perk yet. They're just done, they're going, oh look at me, I've got a lever action rifle, I'm going to kill something with a headshot on delay. And there'll be that one poor level 25 guy trying to carry, as they think they normally do in Versus, just going away from the level 0 to fair. Can I just mention how salty and how really up their own arse people get when playing Versus? I was playing it the other day, right, with a friend, and I was playing Medic. I don't normally play Medic anymore because it's not as good as Killing Floor 1 at the moment. I was nowhere near this guy, right? A level 25 gunslinger. He got killed. He got salty and blamed me. I was in another area trying to help my teammates, but no. Gotta help this guy. Gotta help the level 25 if he's a god. That was my phone. And I think the best part of this guy, to top it all off, was once he died and started spectating me and seeing me healing other players, he said, and I quote, "Oh, now you're healing once your best player is dead. Oh, I'm so sorry. If you were really the best player, you wouldn't be dead right now. I'm sorry for being a bit of a twat on a video, but people like that really they just piss me off sometimes. I don't play a game to get fucking whinged at by someone because they died, or I'm not doing my job properly for a class I don't play. Whoop-de-fucking do." Right, I think I've kind of got the gist of talking about the players. Let's talk about the Zed. So with Versus mode, originally I thought it was just going to be, oh, you can go around as the Zed and just beat them up, all like Left 4 Dead where you play as the specials. No, they've actually made it a bit more interesting. You don't choose who you play as. Like normal, like in Left 4 Dead, you just get chosen at random. However, you can play as the normal Zeds. You have increased health and extra abilities. One of the Zeds can jump up into the air. The crawlers can blow themselves up for some stupid reason. The blow, which I think is one of the cooler ones, can let down mines, so you can just throw up everyone on the floor and someone's bound to run into it. And I think the most overpowered one, but is really good if you work in a team, is the Siren. So you know how Hans Volter would grab you and then just start healing on you? With the Siren it does the same thing, however enemies can attack the player, so if someone's being overpowered you guys would team up and grab this guy and just kill him. That's it, you've won the game. However, this is something I wanted to talk about, which is teamwork. With the Zeds, teamwork is crucial. A lot of players who play Killing Floor will either be in two categories which go into many subcategories. You've got the team players and then you've got the lone wolf. I fit more in the lone wolf category because I play a lot of solo. I do play team games every now and again, but I don't like it as much as playing it on my own. Versus, however, you can't play as a lone wolf, and I've learned that the hard way. Each Zed has their own special ability that makes them unique in this game mode. However, they don't always work on their own. The blow doesn't work on its own by laying mines. You have to lead them there, and the best way to do that is playing as a Zed that can evade. The Siren can't just grab someone and expect them to die. You have to have another Zed like a Gorefast be close by to attack them. The Flesh Pound is great, however, and the Patriarch. Actually no, the Patriarch does need some help at times because I've seen players who cannot play the Patriarch. The Flesh Pounds and Strakes, however, do need support at some points because if not, people are going to focus them and die. I've actually seen games where people who have been playing as the Flesh Pound have run away purely because they're on their own, because their teammates will run in and die constantly. However, and I think this is my biggest complaint with this game mode, you can't always be team workers purely because you don't know what Zed you're going to get, so you don't have time to plan. I've had times, and I think in this video I can show you a clip, where I actually played as a Crawler 4 times in a row. The Crawler is, in my opinion, the weakest Zed and the most useless on Versus. So I could not contribute to my team because I was playing this little thing which is really fast and blows itself up and then dying in 5 seconds just to get the same Zed again and again and again. How do you expect someone to win when they can't be useful for their team? Overall, the whole point of this video was me to say, is this game mode broken? And a lot of people are claiming it is. I don't personally think so. I honestly think because of how Killing Floor 2 has worked so far as a co-op based game which you can play on your own, a lot of people are still in that mindset. I am slowly adjusting to Versus and I'm getting better at it. If I'm playing as a survivor, I can just go off and play like I'm playing a normal game. I can leave my teammates on their own, I don't need to worry about them, I can play how I play and be happy. With Zed, there's a lot more to it. And the thing is guys, you've got to remember, this game is still in early access. Yes, it's been a year, but look at DayZ, that's still fucking going. At least with Tripwire, once they make an update, they actually focus on it for a while before working on the next project. However, people are now saying thanks to Versus, this can cause an issue with development. I can definitely see where you're going with this. However, you can't expect a game not to have new game modes in early access. It's part of game development. If Killing Floor 2 had just had survival again, just like the first one, you had to wait till near the end of the development mode to see a new game mode like Killing Floor 1 with objective mode, it wouldn't be worth playing ever again, because you can just get the same experience from Killing Floor 1. I like Versus. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun game mode, it's a bit hit and miss at times, and depending on who you're playing with, the game can be a bit of a mess. It wasn't personally the game mode I wanted. I wanted a objective mode or a story mode for quite a while, and I think we're going to see that soon. However, Versus is a nice new way to play Killing Floor, and it's brought a new way to enjoy the game. You can play it competitively, or play it as a joke with your friends. Either way, it's a lot of fun. However, I would love to hear what you guys think as well, so if you leave a comment down below, I'll have a look later and then we'll have a little discussion and see where it goes from there. Also, as a side topic, what collaboration would you guys be interested in seeing in Killing Floor 2? Because I have my personal ideas and I might talk about it later on, but I'd love to see what you guys think as well.
To the poor, lends to the Lord.